Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Happy Good Friday, or just Friday, or is he dead yet Friday, or whatever Friday you're celebrating. I'm celebrating it with you. Mainly, we're celebrating getting through another week, right? We got through another week of this stuff. We're kind of like getting through it a week at a time together. So I appreciate you joining me tonight. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and I predict politics. I do a little bit of everything, but tonight we're going to be talking about politics. Wow. So let's do this, right? How's everybody doing tonight? How are you all doing? Are you hanging in there? Is he dead yet Friday? I think you have to be careful when you're drinking around me because things happen. Yes. Um, and I think we're gonna have some close calls with that. I think, like even tonight on social media, some people saw or reported that they saw emergency vehicles going the general direction of the White House. And I'm thinking, it is Good Friday. You know what I mean? Like, couldn't God just like smite him or something this weekend? But I don't know. I think we're going to have some close calls with that. I will say this, that I do think that he's, that this is all unraveling, right? Like we can see it. It's really and truly all unraveling, and I'll talk about it. I don't want to get too deep into it because this is the very beginning, and the West Coasters, it's only 5 o'clock, and so they're just now like getting off of work, like trying to figure out what their name is, and all of that. Yeah, yes, I did. So that's the thing, right? Like this is what I just cracked myself up because I put the pieces together so slowly, and then I'm like, hey, so here's the pieces, right? For whatever reason, don't ask me, but a couple of years ago, many years ago, actually, in the beginning of my spiritual awakening, I had reason to understand that Easter was a satanic holiday. I mean, look, don't ask me the details because I don't talk to them people, right? I don't talk to them. I try not to talk to them. I don't want to talk to them. And also, I'm not really very religious, right? And I didn't grow up religious. So, I just happen to know there's a thing called Good Friday and Easter and that stuff. So I'm saying that there is an energy this weekend, right? Because they're I've seen this ritual thing that they're going to do. It's almost like rituals like the Masons have, or some of these secretive kind of things these people have. But this is like satanic, right? So I think this weekend does begin something. They plant the seed this weekend. It's very important that it starts today and it finishes, this weekend. But it doesn't, I don't think, I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't think that it finishes him this weekend. I think the process begins this weekend. So but it's coming, it's coming. Believe me, it's coming for a lot of reasons. And we'll talk about all of them tonight, I'm sure. Hey mods, hey a goatee man and all the mods, thank you so much for being here and helping me out tonight and helping all of us out tonight. I appreciate it. I usually have subscriber only, but I don't think I have that tonight. So, Cindy P, how's it going? Good to see you. Appreciate my mods. So, sorry, mods, that when I don't have subscriber only, it means that we could have a few more trolls. So, sorry about that. Uh, oh, Shannon, you had gallbladder surgery today. Wow. Okay. Well, we're sending you lots of healing light. And if we can make anything extra special happen on your behalf, at 1600 Pennsylvania, we will do it. We will do it for you because you're recovering. So take really good care of yourself. I know I would love to not think about him either. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? My light, something is going on. I'm just going to give you all the heads up. Like my lights are flickering and stuff. So I don't know what is happening. The guides, I did have a conversation with them before I went live, and they did tell me not to talk about one subject. So I forgot what it was. But it's not about him DIE-ing, and it's not about Hegseth. So I can talk about a lot of things, but there was one thing they said it's not safe for you to talk about. So I'm pretty sure I won't talk about it because they'll just make me forget it, which is fine. Um, Peeper Frog, heavy chocolate week. Yes, heavy chocolate week. Yep, for sure. Me as well. Yeah, see, some of you guys are having stormy weather, and Good Friday and Easter, I think, is a good possibility for him. So we can talk about that if you want. I pretty much I have some. I feel like, is that Little Blue Lotus? Did I just see? Yeah, Little Blue Lotus is here. Hey, thank you for being a mod. Hope all is well. Good to see you. Secondhand news with Jill. Thank you. Thanks all my mods. Lisa Foster, Mary Blue Raven. Yeah, cool. So Deb Zikowski. I don't know who else. Am I missing anybody? So let's talk about. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Let's see what y'all want to talk about. How about that? We'll start with that situation. I love the way you guys talk to each other. That's excellent. Where is this timeline going? Such a great question. And Barb Pet says your deceased brother blinks the light on a specific lamp 3 times when he wants my attention. Nice. I love it. He really knows how to get it done, doesn't he? Wow, he's not wasting any time. Okay, where's this timeline going? Let's talk about that. Okay, the timeline. Right now, what is happening when I go into the energy, of course, it's fluid, okay? And that is very true because right now there is a battle of sorts for power. The guides called it dominion, which I think means power, right? There goes my lights. Will y'all just tell me to shut up if I'm saying something? Don't be blinking lights and I don't know what you're saying. You better say it in my head. Don't be blinking lights and playing things like playing footsie with me under the desk. You better be screaming up in these ears. I cleaned them out. I'm listening. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Timeline. They're struggling over dominion, which is power, I think. And the energy suggests that there's this, we're going to inflict as much damage on the way out, right? Like, I think they're realizing, and I think Vance is realizing, because, when he came out and said, well, I'm not really going to be running in 2028. And I was like, what? That could be him feigning indifference, like, oh, I couldn't accept the presidency, all that BS. But I actually think that he's about 50% sure that he's not going to get it. Not 100% sure. 50% sure, because I asked my spirit guides all these questions before I went live. And I said, well, is there any chance that JD is going to be president like for 2 years? And they said yes. But that's what they're arguing about right now. That's what is happening right now. So let me talk about that. Trump is going out because he is a liability, not just to the United States, you all, but to the world. I'm talking about, look, if we can't get rid of him, somebody else could. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it would be a mercy for us, like, help him out, okay? So he's not long for power. Now, he could have some kind of, I've told you guys the things I've seen. It is true that the military could drag him out. It's also true that he could have a huge MI, is that a stroke? And be spouting gibberish, like literally decompensate on camera. That's one option. And then he's removed and he's put in the rubber room, which is what I've been talking about for years. Another option is that he crosses over, but I feel like as we get into this is we're kind of getting close to the timeline of this becoming reality. As we get close to that timeline, I can tell you that the timeline favors him staying alive, but being incapacitated. And that it really is its own hell in a lot of ways. Like, some people, and maybe me, I'm one of those. I mean, I'm channeling right now, so sometimes I have to interject, but we want to see justice. We want him to experience justice, right? We want that for the victims. We want that for us. And this is one way, because he could be trapped without speech. And that's a hell. That's a real hell for someone like him. And then think about, what if he actually lives another 10 years like that? That that is really a hell. So that is kind of where this timeline is going. It is he could be offed because that energy is there, but it is not the front runner of the options. The front runner of the options is that he has an MI. What is an MI? Isn't that a heart attack? Or myocardiac infarct. It's a heart attack. Okay, thank you. I tried to say stroke, but they keep saying MI. So it could be that he has some incapacitating. He could have a series of events. He could have a MI along with what is I think I'm just making these words up. I swear to God, I'm making these words up. It sounds like intertertiary, but I don't think that's a real thing. I don't know what word it could be, but it could be like a combination of a heart attack and a stroke. You know what I mean? Like just a several. Like, to me, when I see him, he's having seizures. Okay, so it looks like he's getting electrocuted. Um, anyway, so that's, I think, his timeline. Then we have Vance. Now here's the problem. Here's the problem, you guys. They waited too long. Vance's team waited too long to make their move. They should have made their move 3 months ago, and then they could have gotten, probably somehow paid off Congress to get rid of him. Or perhaps they couldn't make their move. They were blocked, right? But bottom line is they missed their opportunity, because now Vance is just as guilty, even if by association, as Trump is. So even though Frumpy is the guy, is the president, JD, even though he tries to distance himself, he's still going to be held accountable for all of the crimes that happened in that cabinet. And I think in his mind, he thinks that if he just has some distance, if he's not seen in the war room, if he's not seen with certain people, then he can say he didn't know. But, as we know at the Nuremberg trials, following orders and saying you didn't know did not let you off the hook. And he is the VP. So he's supposed to be able to step in and run the country, which means that he must know the plan. So now, when I went into JD's energy, here's what they showed me. And it's frustrating, but it is true, because they showed it to me. So you know how when Frumpy was, every time we were like, this is it, Mershon is going to put him in prison, or this is it, he's going to have to pay all this money, or this is it, he's going to get, charged. He would get a stay, like the guides are calling it, a stay of execution. He would get a stay for a day, a week, a month, and then he would get another stay. He literally just kept staying outside of that kind of punishment, day by week, by day by week. And in doing so, he delayed it so long that he was able to be president. This is why this matters, because that's what they showed me with JD. Because JD, if he just continues to delay and say, I didn't know, and how can you hold me accountable, then he can also play that game of, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. How can you hold me accountable? Okay, you see what I'm saying? So he thinks he has 50% chance of staying in, but he really has less than that. But I can't make it 0, because it worked for Frumpy. Okay. So now when you do all that, I can tell you that on the other side of this, and I feel like the other side of this is June or July. On the other side of this, that doesn't mean Frumpy is coherent and can communicate. It just means we're going to be facing JD and what we're doing with JD and what we're doing with the cabinet around June or July. So I just feel like if this stuff with the war, I've always said the war would be the thing, right? I've always said it. The war, if we go to war, the MAGAs will literally peel off. They will not only peel off, but they will turn against him. We are here. We are here. Okay. So that's kind of the timeline overall. Okay. Now, so the outcomes could be that the entire cabinet is held for treason. Now, the way our justice systems work, we know because we saw it with Jan 6, this could take 3 years. Do we let JD stay in office while we're trying him for treason? Do we let him, these are all things that remain to be seen. The other thing that I got from the guides is JD could step down. And I said, is he going to step down to avoid prosecution? And they said, no, he's going to step down. So he doesn't feel like this is to avoid prosecution. He doesn't even want to put that out there. He's just going to say something like, for the betterment of the country, we need new leadership. It's something that just sounds like he's being magnanimous, but in reality, he really is trying to avoid prosecution, but he will not let that energy be known. So those are kind of the big picture things. So let's talk about, do you guys have questions on any of that? If 45 is out, will SCOTUS support Vance? I can't, no, I'm trying to say yes, but no. And here's why. SCOTUS is going to be supporting themselves. SCOTUS is also under attack. SCOTUS needs to not only rebrand, it's more serious than rebrands. And we know who we're talking about when we say SCOTUS. We're talking about the Republican SCOTUS. They need to put up a firewall, a firewall between them and anything to do with this administration. Vance is not going to have the same support that 45 does or did. Oh, I'm glad you're here for my first live. Thank you, Teresa. Who will be the next one to be fired? Bondi and Patel. But I will say, it's interesting that he keeps giving his attorney more and more power, right? So his attorney took over, is it Noam's, the attorney Brian something, right? The guy that got him off of his charges, basically. So I think it's going to be Bondi and Patel, but Tulsi's in there too. Tulsi. They're going to give Patel up. It's like a sacrifice. It's like they just showed me this picture of Patel. Remember, he's allegedly flying government planes to Tennessee to pick up his girlfriend or something. They're going to say we're cleaning house. So if Vance gets in, this is what he's going to do. I'm the picture of financial ethics. I am the picture of apple pie and American and all the things. And so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these people, and I'm going to be very transparent. It's rebranding, right? But so I think for sure Patel's on the short stick. Now, Tulsi is interesting because of all of them, besides that one woman that I can't think of her name, but I see her face, she doesn't have, she's not, isn't she like over the office or something? Her name escapes me, but she's dangerous as all get out. Tulsi is dangerous. I could almost see Tulsi defecting to another country. That's how she is not, allegedly, she is not patriotic. She's not one of us. Let's just put it that way. So yeah. Let me get back down here to the bottom of the chat. I wish there was like a button that was just like here. Yeah, there is a button. Susie Wiles. Yeah, that's her. Now, Susie Wiles, I mean, she's wily. She's got the right name. So I don't see anything happening to her per se. I see her in front of a congressional hearing. I see her answering questions. I see her being 60% truthful, right? She still has people she's beholden to, and there's still bodies that will remain buried. So, but it's not, it's really Tulsi that Tulsi's really bad. Tulsi and Erica Kirk are, to me, the epitome of evil in a woman anyway. Yeah. Chief of staff. Yeah. Yep. That's her. Tulsi is a Russian spy. I agree with you, but I think she could have multiple employers. What's a girl that's not going to just have one employer? Um, yeah. So draining the swamp that they created themselves. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. And there's no honor among thieves. So here's the big question. Here's the big question. So will there be an interim government? So I think it's interesting because last year, when I thought Kamala was going to win, I also felt like there would be something wrong with our government and that there would be some kind of time without a president. And I couldn't square all of that happening, right? So I have seen an interim government, but here's the problem. And it's the same problem we have with the powers that be accepting the fact that the election was rigged. Okay, they won't do it. I've already explained this a lot. They won't do it because what the guides told me was, and this is so true, right? Think about this. If all of America got the message that that our money was fiat, the president was, a crook, and also that you might not be paid, like your money's just, nobody's going to go to work. Nobody's going to do anything. All the money stops. We are the people that make the money. So they want to keep us dumb. They want to keep us productive. They want to keep us on our little hamster wheels, just barely out of reach of healthcare, barely out of reach of a real living wage, barely out of reach of relaxing, right? They want to keep us in this traumatic, overproductive zone. And so if we know too much, we'll just be in shock and we'll stop. And they can't have that. So they will lie to us to keep us working, to keep us doing the thing. And, sometimes we don't want to know the truth either. So we're happy to believe the lies. So when it comes to an interim government, and this is the problem with JD, is that the powers that be would like to have JD in office because what I was talking to the guides about specifically before I went live was I said, would they put JD in office and then keep him on a short leash? You know what I mean? Like he would have to promise to be a good boy, but he's not going to be a promise. He's owned by Peter Thiel, who has a whole different agenda. So this is not, she's not going to be a good boy, but that's what they want. So if they can't have that, or if America is so, this is what I think is really going to happen is our country is going to be literally on fire over this war and over gas prices. And I wish they were on fire over DEI or the environment or LGBTQ or Social Security, but they're not, or school shootings, but they're not. They're going to be on fire over gas prices and over the war. So, okay, we just need to accept that and use it to our benefit, right? Whatever motivates them, we need to just take advantage of it. So they're going to be super motivated. And I feel like these MAGAs, and this is something I've seen also for years, I've seen the MAGAs running past us, like just like those are the people who are the berserkers. Those are the people who are literally just insane with mad with anger, and they are going to go after Fox News, after JD, after all these other people. And I don't know who's going to protect those people because those people are, crazy, right? So they don't want an interim government, but if nobody allows JD to be president, then we're going to have an interim government. That's why I would also say, and I think I've said this on here, but I don't know because things are moving very quickly. Last week, I got the impression that Jeffries, don't shoot the messenger. I got the impression that Jeffries' energy is really big right now. The guys just said they're selling him a bill of goods. They're pumping him up because they're going to put him in speaker position and let him take all of this flack. all of the shots are going to come at him. I said this many times, it would not be worth it. Don't do it. Right. But they're pumping him up. Look, you're going to be the face of the revolution of the new United States. You're going to be going down in history books. There'll be buildings named after you. There's going to be all these things named after you. Maybe they'll even put you on some money. And literally, I'm telling you, they are doing a sales job on him for him to take power, because it takes all the ire off of the Republicans. And guess who's going to step in front of the bullets? The Democrats, as usual. So if we have an interim government, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at a collaboration, probably, of some sort of Democrat, Republican, or they'll give it to the Democrats, because again, what better way to get out of the firing line than to just walk away and give it to your opponent? And the Democrats have never been smart enough to avoid that. So that's what I kind of see happening. And it makes me crazy. Honestly, it makes me really crazy. Okay, let's change gears here. I do want to talk about this. I did say, so I'm on Threads a lot because the guides drop information all the time and I just can't do a video. It's a complicated process to do a video. I did see prisoners of war, and I saw Iran. This is energy. I'm not saying that this is black and white gonna happen, but I saw Iran giving us a female soldier prisoner of war. Maybe it's a pilot, maybe it's not. I'm not saying that part. I'm just saying I saw them giving us back our women soldiers. Now that's a hell of a statement, right? Coming from a country that thinks women should be invisible breeders, right? Like this is the exact opposite of anything they think that a woman should be. And they're doing it to look good in the world, to look good like, hey, we're bigger than other people, or even the USA, right? So I do think we're going to have prisoners of war. I do think that the fighter pilots, I think they're okay. I think that one has a broken leg or some sort of ambulatory problem, could be internal injuries as well. But I think that the guides are telling me some people will be unaccounted for. And I don't know what that means. I mean, I can't rule out the fact, I don't think that Iran is going to do that thing where they emulate, what's that thing when they burn people, right? Like, I don't think that. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to do it, because they understand that they have an opportunity here to do a complete rebrand themselves. This is what I'm saying. The United States looks like complete, and Iran might come out looking like normal. And it's mind-blowing, right? It's totally mind-blowing. So I do think, immolate. I don't know. There's a reason I got that word. So there's an important reason for that. Okay. I don't say words without any reason. So Iran has women in powerful positions. It's unfortunate that they have to wear a burqa, or they have to be covered up, but okay. So they have power. That's good. So, okay. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying that's how it's going to look. Okay. So I think we will get these, I think we will get soldiers back. And again, I wish I could describe the energy of MAGAs around this war, because they are unhinged about this war. They don't have VA, good health care. They live in rural areas with hardly any health care. And not only, like, I don't know how many of our planes have been shot down, right? How many? We don't even know. But I know there's at least 2. And one of them was supposed to be a some kind of stealth plane that Iran said, bam, you're down, right? And then there's video of a Apache helicopter coming to help, and it got shot down too. So it's like, oh, we're not as, bad as we thought we were. So this is very embarrassing. That's something else the guy said last week is we're going to be embarrassed. And we're not used to being embarrassed. We're used to being, American exceptionalism, the guides talked about, right? So now there's video of a plane and a helicopter. Now, could it be, it doesn't look AI, it looks real, but who knows? Before it's over with, this is really going to be a thing, I'm sure. So it is sad. It is sad. And let's stay with the military for a minute. This is a really big deal. Out of all the things we're talking about, energetically, this is the thing that probably worries me the most is okay, so we know, or maybe you don't know, but Hegseth fired a bunch of generals. Now, ostensibly, because some of these generals stood up for some black officers that were being promoted to general, and some women that were being promoted to general, and a black woman who was being promoted to general. And Hegseth said no, and this general said yes, and said no. These people are exemplary soldiers, exemplary, the best of the best. You better believe we're going to promote them. Well, so then Hegseth fired, right? He fired a bunch of those higher end generals. Now, that is all true. It's race related. That is true. But it's also true that it helps him get rid of those people who are also stopping him from having a ground invasion of Iran. Okay, so as the guides have been saying, the military would stop this. The military would not allow certain things to happen. I mean, wouldn't stop it completely, but would stop the most egregious things from happening. All the experts say that if our soldiers end up on the ground there, it's a no-win thing. We're not going to come back. They're not going to come back. And the generals were like, that's a no-go. So he got rid of them. Okay. So that's an important thing. But the thing that I think I'm most concerned about, this is just energetically, right? Is the fact that he also changed the law, the rule, that soldiers can have personal firearms on base. So in the past, soldiers could not have personal firearms on base unless they met with the MPs and could prove that it was a hunting rifle and that they had a hunting license. And some of these bases are in rural areas and soldiers do hunt, and that's okay. But we're talking about pistols, we're talking about firearms. And I've seen so many posts after post of soldiers, in most of them out of the military, because you can't talk if you're in the military, say this is the beginning of the end. One guy posted, he wasn't actually a military police, and he was responsible for writing up these reports. And he told us how many times did soldiers try to hurt people or hurt themselves, right? And if they have guns, it's just going to be bad. Now, the reason I think that Hegseth did this is because he feels like there's soldiers that are on his side, and he's fully expecting. I think he is fully expecting the military to show up and remove them. This is like when they create their plan. This is one of the things that could happen. Their bingo card. One of the things is the military shows up and removes us. So he wants to arm the military, the soldiers, so that they can protect them. There are some that are brainwashed, right? So that's a real problem. It not only will they hurt themselves and hurt others, but it could create chaos. Now, again, several of the commanding officers of these bases are saying, not on my base. No, I make the rules here. Not going to happen. So then does he fire them? Right? You see what I'm saying? So I think now the military in general is starting to understand what has happened, that this is a coup, that this is no longer the United States of America. This is no longer the things that we all know. They're just now coming to bear witness to. Now, the other thing I asked my spirit guides earlier was, well, what are the military doing? What are these commanding officers doing? So then I saw them, this is energetically, I saw them going to the Senate specifically talking to the senators and saying, on the download, this would be through intel channels. So they would be talking to senators that are on the intelligence committees. So they would have reason to have kind of more protected communications. They're going to the senators and saying, you gotta vote. You gotta get him out of here. You've got to do something. They're going and begging the senators. And then surprisingly or not surprisingly, I saw Fetterman, and I knew energetically that Fetterman was terrified. I mean, cold sweat at night, can't sleep, sheets are wet, terrified, because all these people have been threatened. They're not just their lives, their kids' lives, their wives' lives. It's real. They cannot turn their back on these people because their kids were killed. They'll live because that's how the mob does it. You live, your wife dies, your kids die, your grandkids die, right? So you live with that knowing that you could have played ball and they'd still be alive. That's how they control you. So this is the problem with the Senate. This is the problem that we're in. Now, when Frumpy goes, because I really think there is an evil of axis of evil, and I do think it's Frumpy and Nettie and Putin. And I think when one goes, they all kind of go, not on the same day or even in the same month, but they're all tied together in some way. When he goes, that does change that. And then we don't have this problem with JD. So when people say it's all the same, even with JD, it's not, because JD doesn't have the support. And he certainly doesn't have the wherewithal, or does he care to operate in that manner of that sort of violence. Okay. Whew, that was a lot. Let's see. I know there's a lot more, but I'm going to check your comments and see what you guys. Yeah, hit the like button, because if you do, apparently YouTube thinks, oh, people are enjoying this live, and then YouTube sends it out to more people. So please hit the like button. That'd be awesome. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. That'd be awesome as well. Yeah, I saw that France. I don't know who that was. He was like a intelligence guy in France, in the government, said our administration is doing cocaine and that's why they're out there bombing people. I mean, it's just like, it's, but that's what I'm saying. This is a whole world problem. Oh, interesting. Yeah, but the problem with bayonets in your boots is that if somebody's got a gun, it's not going to be a good fight. It's not going to be. It's going to be. It's going to be chaos, unfortunately. Um, and also, I saw a reputable. Again, I shared this on social media. There's a reputable not-for-profit that tracks conscientious objectors, and it's up by 1,000%. Military who are asking to be conscientious objectors are up by 1,000%. So a lot of these soldiers are like, no, I don't want this. And it was a really interesting article, because they asked, the question was not that I'm afraid to die for my country, it was that I'm afraid to have to kill my fellow citizens. That's why. So that should also give you some comfort, in the sense that they understand they're being used as well, and they're trying to, they're trying to do what they can to not be a part of that. Oh, Alito hospitalized last night, home now. Will he retire? Does he have something going on with his head? Oh, and his gut, his lower gut is trash. I mean, yeah, down there. Ugh. I don't even want to go down there. What the hell? Okay. Anyway, will he retire? I'm hearing the words forced out. Because they, the whole RBG thing, they don't want him to, they want a young person in there, right? Trump wants to appoint somebody. He wants these people to leave. That's what he wants. He wants them to leave so he can appoint 3 new ones, right? God, he gets off on that power. But Alito is not, he's not well, y'all. He's not well. I'll say that. I don't think he's close to death, but he's not well. And he's also had enough of this. He's kind of had enough of this tension and just disrespect, right? The Supreme Court, he feels, is being very disrespected by Trump and their minions. And after that thing where they just did the citizenship, the arguments for citizenship, and all the lawyers were like, these arguments were terrible. And apparently Justice Ketanji Jackson Brown just like mince-meated them like she was dealing with kindergartners or something, right? So this makes Alito look bad, and he doesn't want that. He wants to look like a brilliant strategist, top jurist in the land, and he doesn't. He feels more and more like it's a romper room, thing. It's not working for him. But I do feel like they want to force him out. I don't know. He hasn't made a decision yet. But he's thinking about it. I will say that. He's thinking about it. I know, Dragonfly Dancel. I didn't put it on slow mode. I didn't do a lot of things. But so sometimes the chat just whizzes by like a teleprompter or something. Oh man. Yeah, Leonard Leo wants to put those lifetime. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, exactly, Gabby. I don't want to go down there. I saw things that I mean, I was in his, when I got to his prostate, I was like, that's it. Yeah, I already had to look at his colon. Now I'm looking at his goddamn prostate. I'm like, I ain't, no thank you. No thank you. I'm not, don't pay me enough for all that. My light just flicked on again. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Thomas is not well either, and honestly, Roberts is not well, and neither is oh, what is her name? Oh my God, one of our people starts with a K. I can't think of her name right now, but anyway, is it K? I don't know. Anyway, she's not really well either. So, and they are under huge amounts of stress, huge amounts of stress. Got my 2 moderators, Sharon Sipe and Donna. Thank you so much for helping me out tonight. Appreciate it. So this stress is getting to them. It's making them all sick. And, and I do think Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's gonna be the Chief Justice. I do think so. Yeah, Kagan, thank you. Kagan, I think she has I don't know what she has. She has something, but feels like complications are, I mean, she's hanging in there. She's not going to step down. She's, but Ketanji Brown Jackson, thank you. I can never get her name in the right thing. Ketanji Brown Jackson, thank you. Sotomayor. It is Sotomayor. It is Sotomayor who has, I think, diabetes. But Kagan came to my mind. So I don't know, you guys. This is even our team is undergoing a huge amount of stress. I mean, you can only imagine. They see the Constitution being, ripped apart. So that stress will definitely make you sick. Yeah, Sotomayor is who I was thinking about. Yeah, there you go. So Cicero said, your guides told you 2 years ago that Roberts is a fraud and will be added as Chief Justice. I agree with you. It's just a matter of when and how it goes down, right? Whether he steps down, they give him a chance to bow out respectfully, or they take him out. They make him leave. Gorsuch asked President Turney if Native Americans were born today, would they be citizens? His answer was I'm not sure. I'd have to research. Ha ha ha. See, but that's the thing, right? They literally, they have no humanity. They really truly believe some humans are not human, just like the Constitution said, like, so they believe that stuff. They believe that stuff. They believe, the guides are saying they sort of believe that royalty thing where, like, if you have so much royal blood, like that's the kind of, they believe that whole caste system. So yeah. See, this is a question, right? So this is a question for everything, because let's think about Congress. Let's think about the election. Let's think about all the things that happened during this fraudulent takeover of our country. Um, I don't think our country has the wherewithal or the courage even to go back and retry all of that. Now, what I can see happening is that some enterprising attorneys, the guides are saying, will go back to the new Supreme Court and say, we're challenging this because we think we got a bad deal. We think that these people were, not. So I think these things will be challenged, but I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see a wholesale, this is all wrong, we're going to start over again, because it would be so destabilizing for us. It would be so destabilizing. So yeah, but I do think a lot of people will go and take all of those things. So we need to support those not-for-profit organizations, and then also your state district attorney or attorney generals. They're the ones that a lot of times do this as well. So we need to support those people. Yeah. So these I don't know if you guys are seeing those Lego videos. I don't, if you're not seeing them, I would suggest you try to find some, because historically this is never been done. Like, this is propaganda on a whole nother level. And then when they first came out with them, and then just in social media, and I'm not talking about social media everywhere, just in social media, some Black people said, hey, they left us out, and I'll be damned if they didn't do a whole video talking about how we, white people in the United States have dissed Black people. So it was like, they're listening and they're like, oh no, we got you here. We'll do you a video too. So it is so spot on. It is so spot on what they're doing. It's scary. It's so spot on. It truly is, honestly. Yeah. Let's see what else is happening. You guys are asking about Bondi. Will Bondi get revenge on Trump? I don't think so. Because Bondi, I don't know. When I asked these questions earlier, they brought up Michael Cohen. You're still a crook. You know what I mean? Like, even if you turn on state's witness, right. So the guides are saying, because we're not there yet. This is the future, right? We can't understand it. The guides are saying the people will want blood. The people will want justice, and they're not going to be clear-eyed. They're going to be maniacal. They're going to be berserk. They're going to want blood justice. I think that's a real term. Okay, so my point is that if Bondi tries to get revenge on Trump, she's not going to get any special deal, particularly. Bondi's best deal, her best, God forbid, if she were my client, I would say to her, hide, hide. Go, get on a Elon's ship and get off the planet, girl, because you need to hide for a while. And then after this blows over, maybe you can go to the grocery store or something. But I don't see, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see Bondi getting revenge on Trump. You know who I see getting revenge on Trump? MTG. That's who I see. I see MTG just being like, and no offense against Chihuahuas, right? But just being this vicious Chihuahua that won't shut up and just continues during the whole process. We're trying to have like a real legal, you know, hearing, and you hear somebody in the in the other room, that's MTG, right? So I think that as long as Trump is alive, his connection to Nettie, his connection to Putin gives him connections to people that make people disappear. And it's not like you can just go get revenge. You're going to, you know, they're gonna take you out. And I think Bondi cares about her life too much. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, that's kind of what I get, but I could be reading it wrong for sure. See what I'm going to scroll down to the end down here. Yeah, go hide with Epstein and Ivana. That's true. Oh boy, Carolyn Levitt had a black eye. These people. Um, I don't. What's up with it? Well, the guide said this is funny in a not funny way. They said she fell into a piece of furniture. So I think she was pushed down. I think she was threw or shoved into something. I don't think somebody hit her. I think she was thrown into something. I think things, you know, the guides are telling me, remember when he first even took the White House for the second time, they called the ambulance and some of the Secret Service people had to be picked up because they had been in a row, they had been in a fight. I think it's pretty rough. I think it's like Fight Club in there, you know, between him throwing ketchup and throwing chairs and stuff. I think it's pretty wild in there. Um are you asking, was it her husband? I don't know if that's in relation. Hey, Kevin Lewis, good to see you. Thank you for being a mod too. I don't know if you're asking if it's in relation to her. I have to be careful. The guides are kind of asking me to be careful around this. So I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know who did it. But I oh, and she's pregnant too. That's terrible. It is a little bit like Stockholm or a cult or something. It's like, you know, when you're in a bad relationship, you can't really know you're in a bad relationship. I mean, you kind of know, but it's not until you get out that you go, wow, that was really terrible. Like that was so much worse than I thought. And I think that's what's going on with these people. It's so much worse than they think it is. Here's a good question. Will Tulsi Gabbard take him down? Look, whatever Tulsi does, there ain't gonna be any fingerprints. There's never gonna be. She's gonna be in another country when that happens. She might even be visiting the space station when that happens. She ain't. There's no gonna be no connection to Tulsi, um, but she could. She's. They keep showing me her in the peripheral, like you know, like when they have those movies where wolves kind of circle the camp. That's her. She's always on the outside circling. She's never in the middle. She's on the outside circling all the time. So she could for sure take him down. If what the guides just said was if she got the orders to do so, she would do it. There you go. She's a hired hand, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Um, well, I mean, the people threatening them would be Russia and Nettie's people and the mob. And that's you know, that's who would be threatening to them. And they are it's the mob. I mean, it truly is the mob. And the mob doesn't have a problem, you know, disappearing people. That is not anything out of the ordinary for them. Oh my God, I almost spit out my drink. Um, Patty Curry says, does F-45 want Erica K as press secretary? Oh my God, y'all. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I mean, I don't watch that stuff anyway. I mean, but I can't look at her. She is like, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs evil. Um, oh, he kind of does. I mean, that's why it's making me feel some kind of way. Oh my God, he kind of does. He loves her. I mean, not who knows what he thinks, but he loves how evil she is. He, you know, allegedly. He loves how he just respects her game. Let's put it that way. And she wants to be in that house so bad. She wants to be in the seat of power of the world, right? Like to her, that is the seat of the power of the whole world. So she would do almost anything to get in there. And so you have to, the guides are reminding me, going back to Trump, how he ended up there, right? At one time, he was about to be sentenced, right? He was about to go to prison, but he made it to the White House instead. So you can't underestimate these people, Look at Barr, look at Bannon, look at Roger Stone, who, was around during Nixon. These people play the long game. They retreat, they take their losses, they regroup, they come back. They retreat, they come back. So trust me, she'll get there some kind of way. She's going to try to get there some kind of way. But I just heard she has her enemies too, so I don't know. Yes, I don't think he ever stopped, Linda. He never stopped. He might be doing something else, allegedly, instead of that, like imbibing in a different mood altering way. Let's put it that way, allegedly. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the newsletter. I gotta say, I don't like newsletters. I don't like emails, but my guides have been trying to get me to do this for 3 years. And I found this amazing person that I work with, and I channel the messages. Like I just channel the messages every week. And then God bless her, she has to make sense of it. And but what I love about this is that I'm channeling every week again. I'm spending so much more time channeling, and I love that. So if anybody's interested in newsletter, it's free. You can find it on susanlynnmedium.com. It comes out every Friday, and it's really helpful, I think. But it people love it, actually. I get lots of emails that people really love it. So I'm glad to hear that. Oh my God, she's 8 months and due in May. I feel so terrible for these people. My God, it's terrible. Oh my God, can you imagine? Ugh. She ran into something. I can't talk too much about it, you guys. Really, I can't. For some reason, whatever reason. But I'm listening to them after they told me, don't, you cannot talk about this. I was like, okay. You two got a hit that she was thrown into something. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing my website and stuff. I appreciate it. Why is he still alive? Well, have you ever heard your elders say they're too mean to die? Haven't y'all heard that? Because, as a kid, I was like, God, what a thing to say. But as an older adult, I'm like, you know what? That tracks. That totally tracks because there's a lot of really good people I know that went early, you know? So he's still alive because look, the guides told us this is courageous. If we were supposed to have the timeline of Kamala Harris. I'm going to tell you right now because I know that my year changed completely because he's president. Like the things my guides had planned for me changed, and that's how I know the timeline wasn't the planned timeline, but the guides said we chose a courageous timeline, and here's why. And I think about this often. Had we had Kamala Harris in office, Epstein, even though if he was not, running the earth or whatever, all those victims would still be victims because we wouldn't be hearing them talk about what happened. It would all still be under the surface. It would all still be covered up, not because of Kamala Harris, but because we didn't have Trump to expose it. So he's here to expose it. Like somebody said earlier, he really is exposing the swamp. He is draining the swamp that he said he came to drain. So he's here because we decided to fast track our timeline. So instead of like clearing out this karmic justice in 10 years or 15 years, we're going to clear it out in 2 years. So it's more painful because it's all happening at once, but it's going to be safer for people and we're going to be more we're just going to be better humans. We're just going to learn more about human trafficking, and we're going to care about humans more after this. So that is why he is still alive, and that is why he's still in office. I cannot answer this question. Y'all, this makes me want to, it makes me squeamish. Will Erica be Levitt's replacement? I can't. I can't. I get sick to my stomach. It might. She might be. They want her to be. And this timeline is just that crazy that can happen, right? It's just that crazy. Yeah, yeah. Will Trump pardon Bondi? You know, she's done well, all right. He doesn't, I mean, she's reading the energy you got. He does not like her. She's done, once you cross a line with him, like MTG apparently crossed some line with him, it's over. Like he doesn't, like you're dead to him. He doesn't like her. However, she does, as you all have mentioned, she does have all the dirt on him for decades, I think. And he has two choices, really, is what I just saw. She could be Ivana'd, she could find some stairs, or she could be pardoned and told to make herself very, transparent, disappear. So I don't know if he's going to pardon her, because honestly, I think that she could find another way to disappear. And they're talking about all these things. These are all things that are in flux right now. There's no decisions being made, because if you had only him making the decisions, it would be worse even, right? But you do have people like Susie Wiles who are in there going, yeah, boss, we can't do that. And not because it's illegal or not because it's immoral, but because she doesn't want to go to prison, right? Like she's like, no, this does not meet our objectives. You want this. So she just redirects him to money. Whenever he wants to do something that she thinks this is really going to get us all in the what do they call that? The brig. Then she directs him to some person that has money, and then he forgets about Bondi or whoever for a minute. But he really thinks that Bondi did something to him, or let him down, or double crossed him. He's got a thing about her. Um, and- which I don't think she did. I don't think she double crossed him. I think she's trying to stay out of prison. That's what I think. Jennifer wants to know, will England get rid of Starmer? He's in trouble. He's in trouble. For some reason, I just saw Australia's guy. Albanese. Yeah, Albanese. I don't know why. Starmer, though. Is Starmer, he's in trouble. I just heard no confidence, vote of no confidence. I think that's what they do, right? The question is when. It could be this summer. See, the thing that's happening too is I mean, I have to say we, even though I'm like, don't count me in this, but Trump is causing so much disaster on the world stage that now people in Britain are like, what are you doing? Right? Like, why aren't you doing more? Again, it's almost like you're willing to put up with things until something goes wrong, and then you go back to all the things that have made you mad forever that you haven't been talking about, and then you bring them all out. So that's kind of what happens to Starmer. It's like it may not be even his fault, but they're going to go ahead and use this because they're mad about all the things. Because this is really going to hit everybody's economies. I've said this many times. European countries, they've got to start funding their defense in ways they've never done ever, 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 ever. Because the United States had such a robust defense budget that a lot of countries could just say, well, we'll fund ours to this amount, but the funding of defense may actually put strain and stress on healthcare or on raising taxes or on other things. And so the citizens are not going to be happy with their leaders, even though their leaders may not have had anything directly to do with it. They're still going to be held accountable. So you're just going to see a lot of disgruntled, angry citizens yelling at their leaders. And there's not much their leaders can do about it at this point, honestly. There's just nothing. It's going to be a time of hardship for a lot of people, a lot of countries. Um, that's nice. Be kind. I love it. You had a dream that the good guys stormed the White House and we were all really liberated. I mean, that's one of the bingo cards is that really the military could do this. This is what I talked about earlier in this video, that the military could storm the White House. I mean, I've said this for years, actually. One of the options is the military storms the White House and arrests him. He goes to the funny farm. He goes to his little bunker. They would have to literally make it a bunker, but on the inside, it'll look like the White House, and they'll just pretend like he's there. And the third thing is that he goes to the great hamburger store in the sky with free ketchup. And I don't feel like he's going to flee. I feel like he understands that if it gets to the point where he has to flee, he's not safe. He's not safe fleeing, right? Again, if he fled before it got that bad, then it would be fine. But if you wait until you're already being hunted, then who's going to protect you, right? So I don't know. Those are the options that I see. And I am not going to rule out the fact that the military doesn't do something, because now they're going after the military in all the ways, right? In all the ways. Hey, we've got 4,000 people here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you just wandered by, I'm Susan Lynn. I predict politics on YouTube. Welcome. Hang out in the chat. Talk with us. Chat with each other. Chat with me. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. Leave me a comment. And take good care of yourself. What else are we going to be talking about here? Is the aim of the Epstein, hold on, the guides want me to read this. Is the arm of the Epstein Island files involving Ellen and Oprah and Hollywood true? It just gets worse. Is the aim of the Epstein Island? I'm not sure. But anyway, I want to say yes. I'm sorry. I want to say yes. I want to qualify it. I want to qualify it because, first of all, allegedly, I don't know, right? Like, I'm not going to get sued by anybody. I don't know. But it feels like maybe possibly, and that's all I can say, because these people are litigious as all get out, and I'm not going to be no thank you. Yeah, I know a clear image of MTG as a Chihuahua. And again, no disrespect to Chihuahuas. Donna wants to know, will Trump's pardons for his cabinet hold? No, they will not hold. Because I asked the question, but then I saw Trump is gone. Again, either he's in the romper room or he's, next to Ivana with an unmowed grave, and I see these people being investigated and being held accountable. I'm telling you, the country is going to get real spicy, because I just can't describe to you how upset everybody's going to be when our soldiers come home disabled, injured, and in caskets. And we're paying $7 a gallon in gas, or $8 or $10 on the West Coast. This is it. This is a no-go. This is the last possible thing that you're going to do to us. So you better believe that this hue and cry, it's, like we've seen the protests building over the summer. Well, I'm talking about it goes from whatever No King's Day to just like almost riots, really. I mean, just I've always said, I'm in the street and I bump somebody and it's a MAGA. I've said this for years. And we kind of look at each other and then we understand we're on the same side now and our enemy is that person. So it's interesting, right? I feel like, what did the guides just said? The guides said exactly verbatim, he will become separated from his money. So I guess that's bankrupt, right? He's going to become separated from his money source. So whatever money he has hidden away, he's going to keep, but he's going to be separated from his businesses. So if a billionaire becomes a millionaire, do they feel bankrupt? Yes, but I don't know. I mean, and will he claim bankruptcy? Yes, because that's a financial instrument to get out of paying debt. So, I think, but your answer really is, will he suffer financial stress because of his actions? And the answer is yes. But I don't think that he'll be. I think the bigger thing for him, he uses his money to get power and to get celebrity. So for him, if he had, let's say he kept somehow $500 million, but he was a pariah and he couldn't go anywhere, literally couldn't go anywhere. That would be hell for him. So karma has a way of playing out and getting people the kind of justice that they need most. Like I said earlier about Trump not being able to speak, right? That would be the ultimate karmic justice for him, right? So for Musk, it's like stripping his name off of everything and stripping his ownership off of everything, and then having people treat him as a pariah would be a real hellscape for him. As a matter of fact, I don't think he might not live long after that through his own design. Cindy P, that's a good question. What is 45's relationship with Pootie? That is such a good question because, and probably the reason you asked it, because there's a change. There's a change in the connection between them. I've always seen with 45 a sense of Brutus, of being betrayed, of Caesar and Brutus, and that whole thing of being betrayed by an inner person. Now, I will also say he's going to be betrayed by Ivanka. I promise you, I just know he's going to be betrayed by his own family. But you asked about Pootie, and I would say that 45 thinks that he has. That's interesting. He thinks that he has more power. He now feels like he has more power than anybody. The only person he's actually a little bit worried about is Kim Jong-un. He's worried about the North Korean dictator, but everybody else, he thinks he's got more power than them. He's top dog. Well, that's not going to sit well with Putin. And Putin doesn't do things directly, right? Remember that guy Kadyrov, or one of those guys that got all his mercenaries in the tanks and drove towards St. Petersburg and then turned around like, "Hey, Mr. Putin, you better be careful because, you pay us, but I've got an army too." And then Putin was like, "Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Chill out, man. We're cool." And then the guy's plane gets blown up like 2 months later. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is how Putin would operate. Let Trump feel like he's big man on campus. Let him feel like he's the biggest powerful person in the world, and then take him out, or then leak horrible, embarrassing things about him, right? So their relationship has declined. There's another word, but declined, eroded, maybe. Yeah. And I don't know why I want to say this, but I just want to say that's not good. I don't know why I want to say that. It makes things even more dangerous than they were before in some way. Because Putin, the other thing I want you guys to understand, right, is Putin's whole goal here is to destroy us, destroy our standing in the world, make us hate each other, make us fight each other, make the dollar crash out and not be the world currency, make us embarrassed on the world stage, make our food unsafe, make our cities unsafe. And I would say he's done a really good job, right? Like his goal was never to take us over, his goal was to destroy us. So, and Trump doesn't care about any of that because all Trump cares about is money. So Trump's like, yeah, you can destroy this country. I hate it. I don't care about it. Give me some money. So in that way, this is how they've been operating together, right? But now that they're uncoupling, so to speak, or they're just not on the same team. Putin is not going through Trump anymore. He's not going through him anymore. He's going to go directly through another source. And that's going to be even more destabilizing, actually. So we just need to hope that he disappears too, that he goes over the edge soon for everybody. Those three men need to just go soon. Yeah. So let's see what else is happening here. Yeah, I mean, that's what I said, Sheila. Stone Bannon and the others are just throwing crazy, then retreating, then back again. They're not throwing crazy. They have Project 25. I mean, they have a blueprint. They have a whole dystopian idea of how America should be. And they know, and this is what I've always said about the Heritage Foundation. They always, the energy always says, let's live to fight another day, right? If all your army dies on the battlefield, then you're done. You're done. But if your army retreats, you can come back and fight another day. This is what the Heritage Foundation always says when I go in the energy. This is what these people do. So they are fighting. Look what they've done. They've moved our country to the right, so far to the right that even if we spent 3 or 5 years moving it really hard back to the left, we would barely be in the center. They know the energy is against them. They know that all the energy is switching against this type of oligarch energy. So their thing was, let's move everything to the right. That way they have to work a lot harder to get it back to the center, and they'll have to work even harder to get it to the left. So they have, these are not just throwing crazy things. They have real benchmarks, real formulas, real game plans. But if they have to abandon them to live to fight another day, they will. And you better believe this isn't over. Every time, if you look at World War II, even though the energy is the same, we're not, and the energy is the same because even when he was in office the first time, he put kids behind and people behind chain link fences inside buildings, right? And those people disappeared. So it's the same energy, but not the same energy. So we've made it better. It's not the same. And next time we'll make it better again. We're just going to continue to do that. Oh my God. Okay, everybody. I don't know if you got, I have two things to say. Bury the blood clot completely. That is Becca with Petty Boots, which is on Sunday night with Becca and Jen Lynn and Johnny Tro's apprentice. They named the blood clot in Trump Barry. I love that so much. Okay, and then the other thing I have to say is that watch Johnny Taro Apprentice's last live video. The man should be on Saturday Night Live. So is it Christy Noam's husband who had the gazumbas? I gotta watch the comments for this, like for real. Okay, right. Christy Noam's husband had these What the hell was that? They were like this big. You know, you already know no women wants that. Anyway, so when Johnny was reading about it, his name, this guy, her husband's name on whatever platform he was doing his big bazoomas on was Justin Jackson, I think, or Jackson Justin. So Johnny's like, Justin Jackson. It's just, you gotta see Johnny do it. It's so amazing. He's like, Justin Jackson, Justin Jackson. I'm just like, I laugh about it every day. Every day I think about him going, Justin Jackson. It's so funny. Oh my God. He's going to do it on Sunday night. Petty Boots. Go watch. Oh my God. But they named the blood clot Barry. Oh my God. It's Justin Jackson. Yes. Here we go. Justin Jackson. This is so cute. Oh my God. It's hilarious. Barry for president. Exactly. The fact that they named that blood clot was the best ever. I mean, people should just have t-shirts. They should make t-shirts. Hey, I am Astro. Thank you for moderating. Good to see you tonight. Yeah, funny as all get out. Absolutely hilarious. Justin Jackson. The man chose Justin Jackson for his name. Give me a break. Johnny is hilarious. I wouldn't miss. I lurk. So I'm there on a lot of lives, but I'm lurking. I'm there. I am lurking. Now they have a meme of Bondi's husband wearing a balloon. I nothing will embarrass these people, but they should be freaking embarrassed. Um, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I think they were balloons, and I think one of the nipples was up here and one was down. They had like I don't know what happened. Like that was some Timu balloons, or I don't know if that was special effects. I don't know what happened. Uh, you can't help these people. You just can't. Barry, Barry, like the name Barry. I want to buy a vow. That's hilarious. Yes, yeah. Come get your children. Yes, exactly. All good names taken. Exactly. Johnny's awesome. Um, what? Let me see. Johnny said that Barry should travel up and be named a woman's name because we men don't follow directions. That's true. That's true. Oh my God, that is so true. That's so funny. Um, Oh, that was so the blood clot show. That's hilarious. Oh my god. Oh my god, Mamdani. So I saw it's interesting because I don't watch news hardly at all. I don't know why I was on Instagram and I saw Mamdani show up with I think it was Nicki Minaj. I think it was Nicki. Um and he was announcing that he's going to give 2,000 something kindergartners, second year kindergartners, free kindergarten. And he wanted a jingle. He was like, I want New Yorkers to come up with a jingle, a song for the commercial, and I want you to be the judge. And it was so cute. It was so cute. Cardi B, thank you, Cardi B. I knew I had the wrong person. Cardi B, because Nicki Minaj is it's Cardi B. And Cardi B was like fangirling over him. And I'm just like, this is the world that I want to live in. Like I want to go into that reality and I want to live there. And I don't want to live anywhere else. Really and truly. Thank you for that, Cardi B. Yeah. I love Cardi B. Yes, thank you. I know. Nicki Minaj is no longer persona grata. Um, Oh God, no Chicago, no Kings protesters were singing "Go Clock Go" to the tune of "Go Cubs Go." Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. That's amazing. That is amazing. I love it. Um, that's true. What they're most afraid of is us galvanizing. That is the truth. That's why they're kind of clamping down on the media, right? That's why we don't know what's going on. Because if we knew what was going on, we would be freaking out. But what's happening is the family members of service members are starting to sort of leak some things that are happening, and that's just because they want the truth out. They want people to know what's happening. So they're not going to be able to keep the truth from coming to us, but they sure can't slow it down or constrain it or try to keep us from knowing about it. Mamdani's amazing. I love him. I think he's awesome. And and I think he's doing good work. And I think that for the most part, the rich people in New York are leaving him alone. They're just showing me how a lot of the billionaires left California. Remember when they passed the billionaire tax? I feel like some left New York, but I think the ones that stayed in New York understand that what Mamdani's doing is actually going to make New York a better city. And that's going to make more money for them. This is what these people need to understand. Like they make more money off of us when we make more money. you know, when you give me money, I spend it. So um yeah, I think people are starting, some of these people, not a lot, but some of these people are starting to realize, oh, Mom Donnie's actually going to make my investment in New York worth more, right? And that's a good thing for me. So I think he's starting to win over some people. Not everybody, but some people. Yeah, right. This 1984, it's so true. First they steal the words and then they steal the meanings. I mean, George Orwell, and who's read Parable of Sower? Sower. What is that? What is that name? Parable. I'm channeling, so I can't get all the words in the right places. Parable of Sower. Isn't that it? Octavia Butler. I'm afraid to. It's in my cart. I need to buy it. I'm afraid to read it. But she wrote this years ago, and it's like she might as well be living right now, writing it right now. She's no longer with us, but she's another one who is basically predicted all of this stuff. Parable of Sower. Thank you so much. Octavia Butler. Yep. Have you guys read it? Because it's right on the money, y'all. It's so true to what is happening right now. And I think she died 10 years ago or something. So yeah, there's a lot of books out there that talk about what is happening. Um, yeah, Johnny's show is Thoreau's Apprentice. Thank you for that. Animal Farm. See, I read those books when I was a kid. Animal Farm, 1984, Ray Bradbury, all those books. So Parable of Sower is another one you guys might want to look into reading. Um, oh, Carol, what are you saying that is this directed at me, Carol? I have an ego problem. Are you directing this at me? I have an ego problem, and you have changed what you said about the interim governor months ago. So do your guides change their minds, or do you? I also think your guides told you it was just your opinion. Oh boy, Carol, that's cute. Hey man, I appreciate you showing up and watching. If you think that I'm full of shit, that's fine. I don't care. I don't even care anymore. I honestly don't care. I love that I don't care. So you can have whatever opinion you want about me, and that's fine. That's your opinion. That's fine, right? I can't change your opinion, and I'm not going to answer to you. So you know, thanks for being here, and I hope you have a good time or whatever happens. Oh boy. Let's see. Well, subsidized housing, the answer is no, peekaboo. Will subsidized housing survive in its current form in 2026? It will not. Um, there's going to be, so even if JD gets in and we start to, I mean, can you imagine? Our government is gutted. It's gutted. We don't know where our money is. We don't know, we really don't know where our money is. And so we have to go in and sort of take stock, just take stock of where we are as a country. Not even only like take stock of who do we want to be as a country, right? Well, we know what we don't want, but what do we do want, right? But we have to look at all these programs, and I just keep feeling we're not going to have the money for programs, yet Americans overwhelmingly want these programs. So I'm going to say to you that there's a time of, this is where things get spicy and people are like, no, we want these programs. We're not the ones that paid $1 billion for this or did that. We didn't waste this money. But I do think that there's going to be a time where they're going to tell us the money's not here. We cannot fund this government program because the money is not here. We don't know where the money is. We don't have it. So what that's going to do is that's going to force us to put even more pressure on the billionaires, because that's where the money is, right? Like if our coffers are empty, that's one thing, but we sure as hell know where we can get more money, and we know who isn't paying the taxes. You know, you have nurses paying more taxes than millionaires. So I think this is going to get sorted out, but I would say the answer is no. Now, what I've always saw is the states. The states are going to step in and try to cover. I know that's happened like in Oregon and some other states. The state themselves took money out of one pot and put it into another pot to cover that particular thing, like housing. Also, I see it happening with healthcare, because when SNAP got cut, some of the states said, okay, we're going to pay for it. But, states like Mississippi, states like Alabama, certainly other states, Tennessee, other states that just don't have the money, right? And Texas, who's just mean and won't pay. So some states will take care of their citizens to a degree and others won't. And there's going to be an unevenness across the country, unfortunately. I think that's going to become also more apparent that, hey, if you live here, you get these services, but you don't, nobody knows, right? Because you live in that state, you think everybody gets those services, but they don't, right? Because it's a state thing. Let me scroll down to the bottom again. Oh yeah, they do enjoy that. Federal, Denise, what did you say? 45 said federal government should not fund daycare, Medicare, or Medicaid. Yeah. So then it goes to the states. And I don't know. I just saw, so there's a competition for money. And I don't know how this could even play out, but I just saw there's quite a bit of money that comes into red states through hunting and fishing licenses. Um, I don't know. Maybe states start taking some of that money and using it on other things. That's not going to make, I mean, everybody has their own, as you know, Denise has been very involved in politics. Everybody has their sacred cow, right? Like some people are all about libraries and some people are all about hunting and fishing, and other people are about senior centers, and everybody has their own thing. And it's the same thing I said about foreign countries, where citizens are going to hold the leaders accountable, even though the leaders are not, they're like, hey man, I didn't do this. But this is what's going to happen to governors. This is what's going to happen to mayors. Citizens are going to hold them accountable, and the mayors are going to be like, look at the books, y'all. I can't get blood out of a turnip, right? The money is not here. So there's just going to be a lot of ire, a lot of anger. And I think initially it's going to be pointed at the wrong people, which is mayors, governors, when in reality it needs to be pointed at CEOs and billionaires. And that's why I say we're going to end up in the streets together, and we're all going to be pointing at the same person at some point. We're all going to figure out, you're the one that caused this. You, the CEO, you, the robber baron, you, the billionaire. Okay. I did talk about this earlier. I think there's a bounty on the downed air crew. Any thoughts on the unrecovered F-15's weapons officer? I talked about this earlier. I did see POWs, prisoners of war. I did see them handing over soldiers that have been uh, captured, so to speak. I did say that I saw one of the people that came out of one of those, whether it was a helicopter or airplane, I don't know, but they were not ambulatory. They had either some kind of broken hip bone, some kind of problem. They could not walk. That could be the person that was um, quote unquote captured. Um, I do think that we're going to get them back, but they're going to be they're going to be used as a cudgel. They're going to be used as a public display of American, you know, um, loss, American, whatever the word is, I can't think of it, but uh, you know, there's going to be pictures. And again, we'll have this situation where our friends in Canada or Australia or Britain are going to be like, "Hey, did y'all see this?" And we're going to say, "No, they're not showing us this in the United States." And those countries are going to be seeing it, and we're not going to be seeing it because they want to control the narrative, right? But I do think there will be some that don't come back. There will be some unknown soldier graves, but I think that we will get a lot of them back. I mean, alive, and I don't see them being tortured, although I got the word earlier, emulation, which is burning. And the guides don't say words like that for no reason. That's not a word that I would ever use. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out exactly. Um, so let's see. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. Let's talk about this for a second. Go hog. What time is it? All right. Uh, Thoughts on Trump's orchestrated move on Venezuelan oil prior to his attack on Iran? It seems like these two events are linked. Yes, they're linked also in the sense that, so you have what he wants, and then you have what people are paying him to do, and then you have what people are pressuring him to do. Okay? So there's a lot of different things happening here. But he wanted to go to war. That every time I went into his energy, he wanted to be a wartime president. That felt and he loves the idea that he can just that he loves the idea that we have the mightiest military on the planet, which is now being tested, unfortunately. And that he loves the idea that he can just tell them, go bomb, go bomb. It's like having thugs. To him, it was just no different than telling Guido to go out and, beat somebody up with a baseball bat. That's what he does. That's who he is. So that was part of it. He wanted to attack Venezuela, Greenland, all these places because he just wanted to attack somebody. Now, people were paying him and pressuring him. So these people were paying him and pressuring him. And then he was like, yeah, okay, I want to attack these places, right? Now, you're asking specifically about Venezuela and Iran because he's got this fixation on oil and coal. He both of them, but he has this fixation on oil that if he could control, oh, well, okay, because the guides just showed me that Russia has a lot of oil, and his good friends, Saudi Arabia, just have so much money, right? Like they're insanely rich. And he, in his very infantile mind, that's how you make all the money. It's not through solar panels. Is there any Saudi prince having Is there anybody that's a gabillionaire that has solar panels? No, they have gabillions of dollars because of oil. So in his mind, he feels like he could be the oil baron. Again, he wants to be the big king, the big man on the hill. So now Venezuelan oil is horrible. I mean, it's low grade. It takes a lot to be processed. Um, but he wanted it. He wanted that control of that. But I'm not I almost it almost feels energetically like somebody whispered in his ear and sold him a bill of goods about it. And that person could have just been somebody who wanted Venezuela to, who had a vendetta against Venezuela. A lot of this is sixth grade school kid vendettas, I hate to say. I don't know if I answered that for you, but um, Iran has other things involved. You know what I mean? It's a much bigger thing than just oil. It goes back so far. And of course Netanyahu is wanted him to attack Iran. So I don't know. That's what I'm getting. Maybe I'm not covering everything that you asked about. And again, I could be wrong. Question about food insecurity around the world due to lack of fertilizer, getting through the Strait of Hormuz, and lots of death worldwide. True. Worldwide, yes. Not there's going to be more famine in the places that already experience famine. So places that are already food insecure are going to go into like a red high level food insecurity. Places like Europe, or even Eastern Europe or Asia, I don't see them having famine. Um, there could be food shortages, but I don't see them having famine. It's more like depression era where you're having to eat, like ketchup on piece of bread with no meat in it, right? It's more like that. But let me tell you the hit that I had yesterday, because I've been talking about food safety for maybe a year. I've been telling you guys I'm worried about food safety. And my guides told me yesterday or today that imagine if there's food on the shelves. I mean, it's expensive. It's meat. It's meat that I'm talking about. There's meat on the shelves, but you don't want to buy it because it's bad or it's tainted. There was 2 whole years where the food safety didn't monitor this one company that was made that made beef. And the problem with that is they monitor it for prions, and prions is mad cow disease. And so I've said this before on social media, like if the government's not monitoring the corporations for, say, flight safety or for food safety or for consumer products safety, then the corporations have to monitor themselves, and they don't have that kind of willpower. They're always going to pick the profit over the extra safety. Okay? That's the way it's been. But now the government's not there. No one is there. As a matter of fact, the guide said, think about, we used to have 60 Minutes that would go into investigative reports. In Houston, we had the guy, Marvin Zindler, who had blue glasses and would talk about slime in the ice machine. He would go on TV on the city of Houston and talk about some restaurant and how bad their health report rating was. We have consumer reports that would report on all of these products and tell you how good or bad they are. We don't have any of that anymore. We don't have any of that. We don't have any media that's policing anything. We don't have the government that's policing anything. So even worse than food insecurity is having food there that you're afraid to eat, or that you open it up and it smells bad, or it goes bad even though the date is way far out. You know, that's where we are. It's I don't see it. I just don't see famine. I don't see it. I see us in food lines, but that's not famine. I see us eating, rationing even food, but that's not famine. So, it, you know, to me, the thing that I'm worried about most is that when the consumers lose confidence, okay, when we are afraid to fly, when we're afraid to buy a new car, when we're afraid to buy meat, when we're afraid to buy dairy, when we're afraid to buy vegetables, whatever it is, fish, whatever, it's hard to come back from that. It's very hard for us to start trusting again. I mean, we're talking about a lot of work that's going to have to be done to get us to trust again. Now, mad cow came and go and people died. Now, I don't know if you remember that. And I don't know if you stopped eating beef because maybe you didn't, right? But this is a different world now because now we've been traumatized on such a bigger level that I think we really will be scared about a lot of these things. I mean, it's hard to stay away from animal products. This is the problem. I get what you're saying, but some people, if you're a busy parent or a busy mom and you just want to have hamburger and spaghetti, I mean, it's really hard to not eat meat in this world. It's hard to feed your kids, you know? So I get it. I get what you're saying, but I just want to say too that I'm not a person who cooks. If I got rice, chickpeas, and beans, they would be there 5 years from now. So we have to find a way to deal with this, to work through this, right? And I don't know what that is. And I get it. What I always tell people is that instead of if you're not a cook, don't buy rice and beans. If you're not a cook, take that rice and beans money and stick it away because there's going to be always somebody who cooks and they're going to be cooking up a big pot, or take your rice and beans to them, you know, and put it in the communal pot because the whole lesson is community, right? So find the people who cook in your neighborhood. um yeah, that's so crazy. That is so true. Strega, I can't say your name. They claim socialism would cause food lines and rationing, but it's capitalism. That is the true right there. That is so true. Um, yeah. Let's see. Trump's golf course. I'm just going to do a few more of these. We're coming on to 2 hours here. Trump's golf course in New Jersey has flunked the health department inspections multiple times. Has liquor license has been suspended, but he still served alcohol, long overdue to shut him down. See this. So this is a good point because when the citizens of that town, of that state, have had enough, the people who were supposed to shut this down are going to be not only out of a job, but they're going to be investigated. They're going to be investigated for, you know, kickbacks, cronyism. Yeah, it's these, a lot of people are going to go down for this. And it's something they've always done. They've looked the other way or whatever, but we're not doing this anymore. We're just not doing this anymore. We want justice. And we're going to go all the way down to the city commissioner or the health person who just looked the other way. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom and all the way up to the top. It's going to take a while, but you won't forget. What the guides are saying is people will not forget. They will not forgive and forget. That's done. We're not going to do that again. This is a problem right here, you guys. Meg says, thoughts on what to feed our dog. This is a real problem, you guys. So I don't know if you've noticed, but if you go to the vet, not every vet, but a lot of them, they now want to know what you're feeding your dog. They want to know what your dog is eating, what brand, not like how much are you feeding your dog. They want to know the brands because there's something going on that has not been proven just yet, but there's something going on with these holistic brands that are grain free that could be causing problems with dogs. I can't say anything because I don't want to get sued, but there have been studies and there are ongoing studies. And I will say also that my dog Zoe became allergic to chicken. Now it could be one of those things where she was always allergic to it, but it just built up in her system, and then when she was like 9, it became where she couldn't handle it anymore. Or is there something new with chicken that causes her, like she breaks out, like she scratches herself to death if she eats chicken? So there's a real problem about what to feed your dog. And so I just was reading about this. It's so funny because I have this same problem. And Jasper, my new dog, his stomach is super sensitive too. And y'all, I buy these dogs very expensive dog food. I'm talking very, very expensive dog food. But because the ingredients are so expensive now, beef is so expensive, lamb is so expensive, whatever it is, that chicken even is expensive. So these companies, I think, are putting fillers in or using animals that are diseased, or there's no there's no there's no government accountability, okay? There's just not. So I don't know the answer to that. The people that I saw online seem to think that, and my vet would say the same thing. She loved Purina. She loved Purina because she said they're a great big huge company. They have a lot to lose. These boutique companies are new and young and small, and a lot of small companies go out of business and nobody ever hears from them again. Purina cannot afford to go out of business. They cannot afford to have a bunch of dogs getting sick. So she favors like Pro Plan. Um, sh- you know, there are even more expensive dog brands that come out of New Zealand that are if you have a big dog, you can't afford it, right? I don't know what to tell you. If I was a cook, I have a friend who she's a pharmacist, and she makes her dog's food. She grounds the beef, she cooks the beef, she puts it in a food processor with some green beans and carrots, and I don't know what she puts in there, but she makes it and then puts it in some sort of canning thing where it's preserved, and then she freezes it. And I'm not that person. I'm not that person, but if you are that person, you might get to the point where you make your own dog's food. Cats have to have so much protein that I don't know how you would do that. But I think this is a conversation in general we need to have about our dogs and our cats, because their food is starting to make them sick. Truly, it's just starting to make us sick. It really is. So I don't know what the answer is. Oh, really? Linda G too. That's interesting. Um, because I think it's happening, right? It's happening. I can tell you that this dog food I've been feeding the dogs, it's like $4 a can, and all of a sudden it started making them sick. And I have to go find something else, right? So it's a real problem, and I think that also it's going to affect us as well, right? That's the problem. They're eating what we're eating. They're kind of the canaries in the coal mine, in a sense. I love Chewy too. Chewy's a great company. So ProPlan, another fan for ProPlan, sings Purina's praises. There, I swear, I'm gonna look and see if Purina has a no chicken, because she cannot eat chicken. But if they have a no chicken dry food, I'm going to go to Purina. I don't know what else to do. It's really difficult time. But we're going to have the same problems with food. Okay, I'm just I don't know if if you don't have a lot of money. I don't know how. Oh, right, this is what the guides are saying. I was going to say, if you don't have a lot of money, I don't know how you're going to fare in this, but you know what the guide said, and this is 1,000% true. And it's so interesting. The guide said, go find your immigrant friends. Your immigrant friends know how to make food, and they know how to make it cheap, and they know how to make it last, and they know how to make it feed a lot of people. So again, it's interesting that our government is trying to go to war against immigrants, and yet immigrants are such an integral part of us and our safety and our welfare and our vibrancy. But so check out your immigrant friends or immigrant recipes or something, because they're healthy, and some of them are vegetarian. And also go to immigrant stores, right? Like, If you want good meat, if you want good produce, find the Chinese grocery store, the Mexican grocery store, the halal, whatever it is, right? Find that. Go there. Good question about student. Yeah, you do have to be careful with cat food, you guys, because they need more protein than dogs. Dogs cannot eat cat food. Cats cannot eat dog food. So just do your research, right? Um, let's see. I'm going to close this out shortly. Let's see. Chris, Chris says, will student loan debts ever be forgiven? I think so. There's a couple of things we're going to go back and make right. More than a couple of things, but student loans is one of them. The guides are calling them predatory, like loan shark. You're never going to pay them off. That's why Biden, made it a big deal to help people that have been paying them for 20 years and you still haven't paid them off. It's like, forget it. You're never going to pay this off. I do think we're going to circle back around and enact that again. This could be 2 years away or maybe even 3 years away. I'm sorry to say it, but it's going to take us a year just to catch our breath. Just literally to count, to do inventory, to see what I can't wrap my head around all the government agencies that are just gutted, that are gone from the inside out. So we have to go through and fix all these things. But I do think that this loans debts will be forgiven. I also think that government employees that lost their jobs are going to be given their jobs back and they're going to be made whole. So if you don't even want your job back, you're going to be paid a sum of money. There will be restitution, so to speak. Okay. I think people that got unjustly removed or disappeared or even detained, they're going to get money. Not even just money from like taking the government to court, but I mean like restitution, that kind of thing. Now, this could be the states, but it feels eventually like the whole country joins that. We're going to, after we catch our breath, it's going to take a minute. It really is. It might take a couple of years. Then we're not going to look, there's going to be a time where we're told to suck it up and do it for the better of the country. Come together and just do it for the better of the country. And most of us, you and me, we're not going to be on that bandwagon, but most Americans will. But then we're going to start saying, okay, we compromised for the better of the country, but what happened, right? We didn't get these things that we need to get. The environment's not being taken care of. We don't have DEI. Prices are too high. Taxes haven't been levied against billionaires. You know what I mean? We're going to be told, you're going to get all that stuff. Just settle down and go back to normal. But they don't have any intention of giving us those things. So then we're going to have to fight for it in 2028. It's going to be pretty dicey. It's going to feel very spicy. Pumpkin is a good addition for dogs. Pretty good addition. I do organic. Don't do pie pumpkin. Get plain pumpkin for dogs, not for cats, because it adds fiber to their thing. Oh, great. That's great, Cindy P. Thank you for telling me that. I didn't get a chance to look it up yet, but I was going to go to Chewy. Great. Yeah. Well, just pay attention to your dogs and pay attention to yourself. If you're at the grocery store and intuitively you're thinking, I don't know, this meat I don't feel good about it, I wouldn't buy it. Nobody's going to be checking it for you. There's just no. And see, this is going to hurt grocery stores. It's going to hurt so many things. These corporations are going to hurt themselves because we're just not going to trust them anymore. And to rebuild our trust is really going to take a long time. I mean, a really, really long time. So, yeah. So let me just say one thing here, you guys. Thank you for hanging on. I know we're at the end here. I want to say that I got my plaque. I've never unboxed anything in my life, especially on a video. And I want to say thank you so much for this because it's just something really special to me. So I really appreciate all of your support. And this is my plaque for getting to 100,000 subscribers. So it comes in this black box and it has this nice little letter that's really sweet. It says, do you remember your first subscriber, your 1,000th, or your 100th or your 1,000th? It says, chances are you do, and we know you'll definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. Your fans have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through a friend, or maybe you showed up as a recommended video. No matter how they came to your channel, your audience stayed and their numbers increased because of you and the community that you've built. We're proud to honor your impressive milestone, reaching 100,000 subscribers with the Silver Creator Award. Congratulations. And it goes on, and it's very sweet. And it even has that was packed by Rick. Thank you, Rick. So here it is. Here it is, you guys. And you can see there, hopefully it's right side up. This is for you guys. You guys helped me do this. Thank you so much for this. I can't tell you how much this means to me. It's really sweet. And it took me a long time to get here too. And God knows we all went through a lot, right? We went through a lot to get here. We went through Trump's first reign of terror, Biden's, 4 years of rebuilding the country, and then back to his reign of terror again. So, we got through this together. And I'm really thankful for you. I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to show you and unbox it because it's really yours too. So I appreciate you. And I have a little spot for it right here. Basically that it'll be there. So when you're watching me and you see that, I want you to thank yourself. I really want you to know how much I appreciate that. So thank you so much. Really and truly. All right, everybody, take really good care. This is Easter weekend. It's Good Friday. You guys, the energy is crazy in April. Take really good care. One of the things I like about the newsletter is I channel these messages from my spirit guides, and they talked about the message this today that came out on Friday is to soar, is to fly. So they started out a few weeks ago talking about sounding, about going deep in the ocean, and water is emotions, right? So they showed us in this deep, dark blue ocean with just ourselves and our own thoughts, right? Then the next week we were a kite, because I do this thing called the energy forecast, and we were a kite, and the kite is held on a rock, right? It's tethered to the earth, and the kite was fluttering, and that was us. And today we're soaring. We don't have anything holding us back. And they talked about dysregulation, how dysregulated everybody is. You know what I mean? Dysregulation is such an important thing to think about because it means you're not grounded, you're not centered, you're not home. Nobody's home. You're traumatized, you're anxious. So they said soar, don't let the dysregulation take over. Instead, have fun, enjoy yourself. They gave us a prescription. They said your prescription is to laugh, and that will help your dysregulation. That'll help you feel better in your skin, feel better in your life. I can't control the Mad King. I can't control what's happening in Iran. I can't control anything. Really, I can't. All I can control is me. That's all I can control. So try and help yourself, right? Try and take breaks from the news. Try to do something this weekend that's fun, that's happy. Get with some friends. Find a way to take a break, maybe take some naps, eat some good, nutritious food, watch some funny movies. Just take really, really good care of yourselves, okay? Because we're going to get through this together. That's what I've said from the beginning. And yeah, if you're still watching, I know the live, some of you joined late. Please hit the like, subscribe, I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, I have a class coming up. Thank you for saying that. I do have a class coming up on your soul's journey. Like if you wanted to know what your soul, why am I here? Like this is why I wanted to do that class. Cuz like why am I here? What the hell? Why did I choose this, right? So I have a class coming up in a couple of weeks. It's only $33. And we're going to understand, we're going to figure out what my soul's path was, right? So you can join that if you want. Again, it's $33. You can learn on my website, susanlynnmedium.com, susanlynnmedium.com. But you can also join my online communities. I have a free online community with several, many thousand people there that are just hanging out, helping each other. I have a paid community where I'm there working with you 6 hours a month. So there's a lot of things for you, and you can find them, including my newsletter, and you can find them all at susanlynnmedium.com. Take really, really good care. Happy Easter, happy Good Friday, and mainly just happy love yourself. Happy take good care of yourself. How about that, everybody? Much love. Thanks so much. I'll see you again next Friday. Take good care, everybody. Thanks again.